The Limpopo River is one of Africa's largest rivers, and it also happens to be one of the most dangerous places on Earth. A town in South Africa called Phalaborwa sits on Limpopo's shores, and all of its residents know they're never supposed to step foot inside of the dangerous waterway. But not all of their residents take that guidance seriously. Mariska Buitendog, along with her boyfriend and 6 of their other friends, had been out all night partying. They decided they wanted to take an early morning dip in the Limpopo River. So the rest stayed on shore, and Mariska jumped in the river and jumped right out again. And she survived. She does it again, this time going a little bit farther out into the river before coming back on shore. Now she's really confident, and so she said, "Hey, who wants to come with me for a 3rd time in?" And the group said, "No, we're still good. This is not safe." So Mariska gets in the water, and by herself, she swims out on her back about 15 meters away from shore. She turns and waves at the group and smiles before she is violently pulled under the water. There wasn't even time for her to scream. Her boyfriend immediately jumped into the water to try to pull her out, but he knew where she was, and there was no way he was getting her back. The other nickname for the Limpopo River is Crocodile River, and Mariska, unfortunately, had fell victim to one of its apex predators. But it's not just partygoers that fall victim to these crocodiles. Unfortunately for the residents of Zimbabwe, because of the extreme hardships they have to face, many of them have been forced to flee the country and cross over the Limpopo River to try to gain entry into South Africa. And many of them will die trying. On April 11th, 2014, Zimbabwean and South African police discovered this crocodile-infested cave, and inside of this cave were the remains of 15 people that presumably tried to cross over and were caught by crocodiles. The discovery of this cave and the 15 people who lost their lives inside of it, while tragic and certainly gruesome, it only represents a fraction of the total number of people who have died trying to cross this river. On June 7th, 2016, Colin Scott and his sister Sable went to Yellowstone to see the famous hot springs. The siblings were exploring the Norris Geyser Basin, which is the park's oldest and hottest thermal area, when they decided to leave the safety of the boardwalk and walk past all the signs telling them, "Do not leave the boardwalk, this is dangerous, turn around," and venture out off the course. They walked approximately 200 meters away from the path to the edge of a hot spring, and they were just standing there when Colin apparently tripped and fell into the hot spring. And his sister was just not able to do anything. She knew she couldn't go in after him, and he very quickly sunk below the surface and didn't come up again. If you were to ignore the countless warnings around these hot springs and fall in one, this is what would happen to you. First, your body would register that your skin was bathing in waters exceeding 200 degrees Fahrenheit, but it would only hurt as long as your nervous system was able to register pain, which would only be for about 1 minute or less. And your blood vessels in your underlying dermis would rupture, causing rapid blood loss. Some underlying skin layers would lose all of their water and become tough and blackened. Your nervous system would enter a state of shock and become irreversibly damaged. You would be dead within 2 to 3 minutes, and then at that point, the acidity of the water would take over. Within a few hours, your body, including your skeleton, would be absolute nothingness. And for anyone who falls in but manages to climb out again before being dissolved, they are not out of the woods. Many of those people, unfortunately, will die hours, days, months later due to complications from the burns. Sable ran back to try to get help, but by the time they got back to the edge of the hot spring, he was gone. And in fact, the only thing they would find of Colin Scott was his flip-flops. Since 1890, Colin Scott, along with 21 other people, have died by falling into these hot springs. Just know that I really appreciate your support, and until next time, that's gonna do it. See ya.